Good Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Wednesday. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and today, in an entertainment spotlight, you're being part of my conversation with Robin Gregory of Sierra Nevada Brewing. Enjoy today's program. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Wednesday headlines. In national news, Mississippi State Department of Health reports 665 new COVID-19 cases and 53 deaths. The Mississippi State Department of Health reported 665 new COVID-19 cases and 53 additional coronavirus-related deaths. There have now been 144,544 COVID-19 cases in Mississippi and 3,729 coronavirus-related deaths since the first COVID-19 case was confirmed in Mississippi on March the 11th. Hospitals are struggling to cope with the increasing number of COVID-19 patients. The extraordinary rise in COVID-19 admissions over the past 2 weeks is something we can't sustain, the Mississippi State Department of Health official said in a tweet. Stay home, stay protected, and keep yourselves and others well. In a related story, as virus cases spike, financial outlook for airlines dim. With coronavirus cases spiking in the U.S. and Europe, the financial outlook of the world's airlines is getting worse. Airlines will lose more than $157 billion over this year and next because of the pandemic, their main trade group said on Tuesday. The forecast from the International Air Transport Association was worse than the group's June estimate of $100 billion in losses for the 2 years. The latest estimate breaks down to airlines losing $66 for every passenger carried this year. However, the trade group now sees a quicker recovery. It says airlines will begin taking in more cash than they spent in the fourth quarter of 2021, earlier than it had previously forecast, on the belief that travel will increase as COVID-19 vaccines become available. U.S. airline stocks rose on Tuesday on further encouraging news about vaccines, but industry officials are pressuring governments around the world to move more quickly by lifting travel restrictions for passengers who test negative for the new coronavirus. In more national news, Biden pushes past Trump era with nominees. Declaring America is back, President-elect Joe Biden introduced his national security team on Tuesday, his first substantial offering of how he'll shift from Trump-era America First policies by relying on experts from the Democratic establishment to be some of his most important advisors. Together, these public servants will restore America globally, its global leadership and its moral leadership, Biden said from a theater in his longtime home of Wilmington, Delaware. It's a team that reflects the fact that America is back, ready to lead the world, not retreat from it. The nominees are all Washington veterans with ties to former President Barack Obama's administration, a sign of Biden's effort to resume some form of normalcy after the tumult of President Donald Trump's 4 years in office. There are risks to the approach as Republicans plan attacks and progressive fret that Biden is tapping some officials who were too cautious and incremental the last time they held power. Still, Biden's nominees were a clear departure from Trump, whose cabinet has largely consisted of men, almost all of them white. Biden's pick included several women and people of color, some of whom would break barriers if confirmed to their new positions. In business news, Dow crests 30,000 points on vaccine hopes and Biden transition. The Dow Jones Industrial Average broke through 30,000 points on Tuesday as investors were encouraged by the latest progress on developing coronavirus vaccines and news that the transition of power in the U.S. to President-elect Joe Biden will finally begin. Traders were also encouraged to see that Biden had chosen Janet Yellen, a widely respected former Federal Reserve chair, as Treasury Secretary. The Dow rose 454 points, or 1.5%, to close at 30,046. The S&P 500 index, which has a far greater impact on 401k accounts than the Dow does, rose 1.6%. Treasury yields rose as investors became more optimistic about the economy. And finally, in entertainment news, a Grammy savage. Beyoncé leads with 9 nominations. Beyoncé is bringing her Black Parade to the Grammys. The pop star's anthem about Black Pride scored multiple nominations on Tuesday, making her the leading contender with 9. Beyoncé picked up Song and Record of the Year's bid with Black Parade, which she released on Juneteenth, the holiday that commemorates when the last enslaved African Americans learned they were free. The song, which reached the top 40 on the pop charts, is also nominated for Best R&B Song and Best R&B Performance. Beyoncé's Black is King film that highlighted black art, music, history, and fashion is up for Best Music Film, while Brown Skin Girl, a song dedicated to dark and brown-skinned women, is nominated for Best Music Video. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Improve your communication skills. Improving your communication skills will allow you to share ideas and negotiate effectively. When words, phrases, sentences are not spoken clearly, communication can lead to conflict. Take the time to choose your words carefully, as this will enable you to express your ideas and minimize conflict. Make an effort to really listen to people instead of thinking about what you will say next to prove your point. Your discussions will become mutually collaborative efforts rather than two people merely wanting to be heard. Today, practice interactive communication so you can create a positive outcome to any discussion. And always enjoy your day.
Robin Gregory is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight from Sierra Nevada Brewing, right here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Robin Gregory of Sierra Nevada Brewing joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about what they're doing to be able to help with food insecurity, those families who cannot put enough food on their tables. Here's part of our conversation.
So, Robin, this is a problem, of course, that we are seeing all over the place, especially in our listening area. How big of a problem is food insecurity right now in the United States?
Well, Cyrus, to put it in perspective, before the pandemic, about 10% of American households were facing food insecurity, and that number's jumped to about 23%. So you see almost a quarter of American households are struggling to put food on the table right now.
And so that is one of the things why we're so glad that you're here to tell us about what Sierra Nevada is doing. So talk to us about the new beer, Robin, and how they're raising funds and awareness for these people that need it.
Sure. So we have released Dankful Generously Hoppy IPA. And Dankful is a classic West Coast style IPA. But more than that, it gives back. So through our Dankful program, we have committed to donating $1 million to fighting food insecurity across the country. So we've partnered with nonprofits and cities all over the country who are fighting food insecurity. And right now, many of those are focused on making sure that everybody is able to sit down on Thanksgiving, sit down on the holidays, and have a warm meal on their table.
What a great thing. And it's so timely for sure. And I think, that is one of the reasons why I think people respect Sierra Nevada, Robin. So what is Sierra Nevada doing to partner with nonprofits when it comes to helping them out during this time?
Sure. So we've partnered with nonprofits in a bunch of different cities. And when we did that, we really talked with our community members who were in these different cities and said, hey, what are you facing? What are you up against? And tried to find the way that we could make the biggest impact.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. We'll have you guys on tomorrow with more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Make it a great one.